Welcome, students of class 12, to your online English class. Hope you are well and safe by the grace of God. Students, our mighty God says, "Pray the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not, I am the one who helps you." So, dear students, our mighty God will help you in all your situations and He will put an end to this critical situation also. God will make a way where there seems to be no way. Students, now we are going to concentrate on prose 3. Our third process in celebration of being alive. This prose is written by Dr. Christian Bernard. About the author. Christian Neethling Bernard was born in rural South Africa in 1922 to poor parents as their fourth child. He evinced great interest in his academics and was determined to pursue medicine after the loss of his brother to a cardiac ailment. He won many scholarships and pursued his higher studies, specializing in cardiac surgery. After experimenting with heart transplantation on animals, he performed the world's first human to human heart transplant in the year 1967. Bernard has penned 14 books and 235 scientific articles that have been published in reputed journals. Some of his books are One Life, 50 Ways to a Healthy Heart, The Best Medicine, and The Faith. A pioneer in cardiac surgery, he obtained a doctorate in medicine from the University of Cape Town. He died at the age of 78 in the year 2001. We all know that Dr. Christian Bernard was the first doctor to perform a heart transplant surgery. Here we have an extract of his speech wherein he narrates an experience which has changed his perspective of life altogether. Students' perspective means way you see something. Let's find out what led to such a dramatic transformation. Dr. Christian Bernard narrated some of the most influencing experiences of his life. The story goes like this. The doctor and his wife met with an accident. He had his ribs broken, bedridden, and his wife was also hospitalized. There were many child patients in the hospital. Few of them had their legs amputated, few had a tumor and had to undergo painful surgeries, therapies, and so on. Therapies means treatment intended to treat or heal a disorder. One day, a blind child and his friend who have lost one of his arms were playing a push cart game in a trolley in the hospital. The blind boy was sitting on the cart and steering it, while the boy with one hand was pushing it. Dr. Bernard, who was observing these children while recuperating from his bed, was surprised to see that both of them were very happy and playful, forgetting about their misery. Here, recuperating means recover from illness. Doctor acknowledged that the kids had taught him that the business of living is joy in the real sense of the word, not simply pleasure, amusement, recreation, but more a celebration of being alive. The lesson ends with a conclusion that suffering is a part of life and suffering makes an individual stronger and stronger. Students, how many of us actually think in this manner when we face similar situation? Now let us enter into the prose. We have totally 13 points in this prose. Let me read this prose point by point and explain it to you. Now the first point. More and more, as I near the end of my career as a heart surgeon, my thoughts have turned to the consideration of why people should suffer. Suffering seems so cruelly prevalent in the world today. Do you know that of the 125 million children born this year, 12 million are unlikely to reach the age of 1, and another 6 million will die before the age of 5? And of the rest, many will end up as mental or physical cripples. Here, consideration means careful thought. Prevalent means common. Cripples are the people with some disability preventing them from performing certain normal functions. In the first point, Dr. Christian Bernard says that he is doing heart surgery for many years. He faces so many people who are suffering. So he thought in his mind why people are suffering like this. He says suffering is common in this world. He asks us whether we know out of 125 million children born this year, 12 million children survive only 1 year and 6 million children die before the age of 5. And of the rest, many people suffer with mental or physical disability. Dear students, how many of us thank God for our good health? If not, from today onwards, let us thank God for whatever He has given to us. Answer the following question based on your understanding of this point. Question A. What thoughts troubled Dr. Christian Bernard as he neared the end of his career as a heart surgeon? Answer. Dr. Christian Bernard thought about the suffering of the people and it troubled him as he neared the end of his career as a heart surgeon. Let me read the second and the third points together. Second point. My gloomy thoughts probably stem from an accident I heard a few years ago. One minute I was crossing the street with my wife after a lovely meal together, and the next minute a car had hit me and knocked me into my wife. She was thrown into the other lane and struck by a car coming from the opposite direction. Third point. During the next few days in the hospital, I experienced not only agony and fear but also anger. I could not understand why my wife and I had to suffer. I had 11 broken ribs and a perforated lung. My wife had a badly fractured shoulder. Over and over, I asked myself, why should this happen to us? I had work to do after all. There were patients waiting for me to operate on them. My wife had a young baby who needed her care. Here, agony means extreme physical and mental suffering. Perforated means torn and damaged with holes. In this point, he says that he might have got gloomy thought only from this incident. What's that incident? One day, after a meal, Dr. Bernard and his wife were crossing the street. A car hit him and knocked him into his wife. She was thrown on the other lane and was hit by a car from the opposite direction. Dr. Bernard and his wife were hospitalized. He experienced agony, fear, and anger. Both were suffering with pain. Dr. Bernard suffered from 11 broken ribs and perforated lung. His wife had a fractured shoulder. He thought in his mind, why did this happen to them? He thought, many patients would be waiting for him to operate. His wife had a young baby to take care of. Answer the following questions based on your understanding of these 2 points. Question. What were Dr. Bernard's feelings when he was hospitalized after an accident? Answer. When he was hospitalized after the accident, he experienced agony, fear, and anger. He questioned himself why that had happened to him. Next question. When and where did the accident occur? Answer. The accident had happened a few years ago. When he was crossing a street with his wife, a car knocked him down. Next question. How did the hospitalization of Dr. Bernard and his wife affect their routine? Answer. Dr. Bernard could not do the scheduled surgery, and he and his wife could not look after their young baby. Let me read the fourth and fifth point together. Fourth point. My father, had he still been alive, would have said, "My son, it's God's will. That's the way God tests you. Suffering ennobles you, makes you a better person." Fifth point. But as a doctor, I see nothing noble in a patient's thrashing around in a sweat-soaked bed, mind clouded in agony, nor can I see any nobility in the crying of a lonely child in a ward at night. Here, ennobles means makes dignified. Thrash around is an idiom which means to move about restlessly. As he recuperates in the hospital, Bernard reflects on what his father would have said if he had been alive. Suffering is God's way of testing, refining, purifying, and ennobling you, makes you a better person. As a doctor, Dr. Bernard saw every day the patients suffering as they were moving about in sweat-soaked bed, mind filled with pain. He could not find any nobility in the crying of a lonely child in a ward at night. Answer the following question based on your understanding of these points. Question is, how was Dr. Bernard's attitude to suffering different from that of his father? Answer. Dr. Bernard was angry at his suffering, but his father would take it as God's test on a person. His father thought that such incident would improve a person to become better. Let me read the sixth point. In those days, they didn't have sophisticated heart surgery. I have always found the suffering of children particularly heartbreaking, especially because of their total trust in doctors and nurses. They believe you are going to help them. If you can't, they accept their fate. They go through mutilating surgery and afterwards they don't complain. Here, sophisticated means well advanced. Mutilating surgery means surgery involving removal of tissue, even at the risk of worsening of the patient's condition. In this point, Dr. Bernard says, in those days we didn't have well advanced heart surgery, no heart transplant surgery also. Dr. Bernard has always found the suffering of children particularly heartbreaking because of their total trust in doctors and nurses. They believe they will be helped by them. If they are not cured, they accept their fate. They do not make any complaint. Students, as I have told, there are 13 points in this prose. In this first session, we have learned first 6 points. In these points, we learnt about Dr. Christian Barnard. Thoughts troubled Dr. Christian Barnard as he neared the end of his career as a heart surgeon. What happened when he and his wife crossing the street? How did this affect their routine? And what was his father's attitude? Next 7 points we will learn in the next session. In this first session, already we have completed 9 synonyms, 5 answer the following questions from A to E. Now, I am going to give you answer the following questions in 3 or 4 sentences. First question. Detail the statistics Dr. Bernard has provided in his speech. Answer. To prove that suffering is prevalent in this world, Dr. Bernard gives the following statistics. Out of 125 million children born this year, 12 million are unlikely to reach the age of 1, and another 6 million will die before the age of 5. Next question. What happened when the doctor couple were crossing the street? Answer. While the doctor couple were crossing the street after a lovely meal together, a car hit him and knocked him into his wife. She was thrown into the other lane and struck by a car coming from the opposite direction. Next question. What injuries did they sustain in the accident? Answer. Dr. Bernard had 11 broken ribs and a perforated lung. His wife had a badly fractured shoulder. Next question. Dr. Bernard could not find any nobility in suffering. Why? Answer. As a doctor, Dr. Bernard saw every day the patients suffering as they were moving about in sweat-soaked bed. He could not find any nobility in the crying of a lonely child in a ward at night. Next question. Why does Dr. Bernard find suffering of children heartbreaking? Answer. Dr. Bernard has always found the suffering of children particularly heartbreaking because of their total trust in doctors and nurses. They believe they will be helped by them. If they are not cured, they accept their fate. They do not make any complaint. Next, students, you have an exercise. Form a phrase with each of the following pairs of nouns given below. Here is an example. Fiber plus tissue. Fiber is a noun and tissue is a noun. Both nouns together form a phrase, fibrous tissue. Students, can you guess the answers for the following like the example? First one, muscle plus pain. Guess your answer now. The answer is muscular pain. Now number 2, skeleton plus system. Skeletal system. Number 3, nerve plus disorder. Nervous disorder. Number 4, digestion plus enzymes. Digestive enzymes. Number 5, surgery plus instruments. Surgical instruments. Number 6, agony plus experience. Agonizing experience. Number 7, glory plus victory. Glorious victory. Number 8, fancy plus idea. Fanciful idea. Number 9, emotion plus song. Emotional song. Now the last one, number 10, sense plus issue. Sensitive issue. Very good, students. I hope you have guessed the correct answers. Students, please copy these 11 phrases in your English notebook. Dear students, in this first session of this third prose in celebration of being alive by Dr. Christian Bernard, you should write in your notebook synonyms, question answers, that is very short answers. Answer the following in 3 or 4 sentences and the phrasal words. Students, I request you to write these in your notebook and study because time is precious, spend it wisely. Time and tide waits for none. Time management is playing a vital role in mankind. Time management creates discipline. If you want to be successful in life, then you need to manage your time. So, dear students, eliminate distractions from you, set goals for each study session, and start working on assignments. Time management is the key to success. So, dear students, manage your time and get success in your life. May God bless you always. Thank you.